Yeah, so this is the first iteration of this 14-day challenge. And what I want everyone to know is that your feedback is going to be paramount to the success of this space and what's going on. So I'm open to feedback and critical review. I think that all of this stuff is going to be really powerful for you guys because although this is my first time like giving it to you guys and presenting it, I'll show you some examples. I've been doing this for like 4 or 5 years now, but it's all been an intuitive process. So now I've taken it out. I've learned how to think and how to create frameworks, as some of you know who've been with me for a couple weeks now. So it's like, what are the step by step by step actions that we need to take in order to get from where we are right now to where we want to go? And just like if you were a white belt in a dojo, if you do the kata, ha, and if you learn how to throw the person and you just learn a couple tools and techniques, there's literally no way that you can't get to the next belt with enough practice. Does that make sense to everybody? Yeah? Okay. So one more time, just for the new people, let's all take a long, slow, deep belly breath in. And relaxing down and out. And what I want everyone to do, even if you're on the replay, I want you to just look at how many people are in the space. I want you to just maybe look around at some eyeballs, maybe some new faces, maybe some familiar faces. And I want you guys to just recognize, just in this first 30 seconds, is that you're all here to help people on the planet heal. Like, just think about how freaking cool that is. Right? Everyone look at Sheila. Yeah. Yeah. Sheila's here to help heal. Right? I love it. So I want us all to just recognize that we all have a little weird, golden thread that runs through our hearts. And the way that I like to think about it is people say soul tribe and stuff like that all the time. I think me and John might have had a conversation about this before. I see us all as kind of like the heartbeat of the planet, right? We're the ones that are like, okay, we got lots of trauma, we got lots of pain going on, and we're kind of like the generational janitors, right? It's like we all had a really shitty childhood and we need to fix it because it's really painful. And then we realized, okay, if I can heal, maybe I can help other people heal, right? So that they don't experience the same pain. And if I can do that, maybe I can quit my 9 to 5. Anyone ever had that thought? Yeah? Okay, good. So I just wanted to help you guys understand we're all here for the same reason. And I have some really fun tools and ways to gamify this and make it all team sportsmanship and competition friendly, push each other to the edge, but also giving each other support. Yeah, so with that being said, let's all take one more deep breath in. And let us maneuver through this experience, okay? So for the first little piece, I'm just going to give you guys kind of like a little rough draft overview, what we're going to be doing, what the concept is. I'll show you guys, I really like the idea of accountability and gamifying accountability. So I'll give you guys the concept. And then we're going to jump right into the practice, the understanding, the frameworks. So make sure everyone has a notebook or a Google Doc. Is that cool? All right, let's jump in, you guys. All right, can everyone see my screen? Okay, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So I'm just going to go over this. It might be a little bit of a ready read, or I might go off script a little bit. Whichever way, it's going to be lots of fun. So what we're doing here, the goal and the intention of this is to create really short, simple, magnetic content. Okay, and I call it the two-step post. You might have heard it around. It's not a new concept. It's really simple. But basically, I want to help you guys create a small, short little Facebook thing or an Instagram thing that says, hey, do you have this problem? I'm doing some free coaching calls. Who wants one? Drop a comment, drop a GIF, drop a something. And then how do you create some supplemental content so that people know that you're not just some random person on the internet that doesn't know what they're doing? Okay, with hook, story, offer. Has anyone here heard the framework of hook, story, offer? No? Okay, cool. Some of us have. We're going to get a little bit of practice because it's really not that hard. Just, you know what? I'm going off script. Who here, by show of hands, has trouble explaining to someone what you do as a coach? Okay, quite a few. All right. Has anyone, by show of hands, found that it's kind of hard to make content when you don't know what you're offering? Yeah? Yeah. Okay, cool. So like I said, I've been getting on lots of little strategy calls over the past couple weeks. And the biggest issue that I've saw was you guys are all great at what you do, but it's a very intuitive process. And I don't know how to explain to people. It's like, hey, this is my sales pitch for the longest time. Okay. You get on the call with me, you're going to cry. Okay. Then magic's going to happen somehow. I don't know what. Life will get better and people pay me lots of money. That's what I do. Right. And it's a fun little conversation starter if you just meet someone. But they're like, okay, what do you do? And I just say, I'm a wizard. I don't know. Come jump on a call and we'll see. Right. So anyone feel like that before? Yeah. Okay. So the way that we get around that, I found, is we have to have a framework to understand how to get people from where they are to where they want to be. But the issue is that it's all an inner journey. Anyone notice that? And it's hard to kind of make a result out of like healing depression, make a result out of, oh, like my autoimmune disease left. I don't know why. Or, oh, my relationship got way better and we didn't break up. It's like you get a bunch of results for a bunch of people. So it's hard to make content because you don't know exactly what you're going to do. So I'm going to show you and start you guys out with who are you helping and what are you helping them with, and just boiling it down to what was your story. That's it. What was your story? Where were you at? And you can write this down if you're taking notes. What were your symptoms? I just went over this with Lily today. So Lily, thank you for helping me articulate this in a really cool way. What was your pain and what was your symptom? Write that down. What was your pain? What was your symptom? How did you know you're in pain? And the second thing I want you guys to write down is, was this an Advil symptom or was this an ER symptom? An Advil symptom or an ER symptom? Oh, I had another fight with my girlfriend today. I guess I'll just go play video games. That's a solution. Oh, I hate my boss, so, I guess I'll just go home and drink and watch some porn. That's a solution. That's an Advil solution. And what happens is, what happens when you don't address the root cause? Does anyone know? Let's have a quick 30-second share. What happens when you don't address the root cause and you just keep putting band-aids on top of it? Someone just unmute yourself. Go for it.
Keep digging a hole.
Say it one more time, Eric.
Keep digging a hole.
You keep digging a hole. And what happens when you dig a deep enough hole, Eric?
You can't get out.
You can't get out. Awesome.
Good
And
bite.
now what? You're stuck. You're depressed. You're lonely. You're anxious. Lily, what was it?
You break down. That's what happened. I was doing the Advil thing for a while, not knowing, until I got burned out so badly. Then it was an ER thing. Then I just stopped, look at what was I doing.
Exactly. Eventually, the wheels fall off the car and you break down and you burn out. Something crazy happens. Now your body says you can't work for the next 6 months. Now you're in the middle of a divorce that seems to hit you from nowhere, and you got 2 kids and you're about to lose the house. Now you're depressed, you're going to lose your job, and you're not going to see your kids for the next 6 years. You're not taking enough Advil to fix that. Anyone resonate? Yeah, okay. So, and this is something I got from Jessica. I want you guys to know, all I do is I connect dots, and you guys are all the dots with all the pains and the problems. So Jessica, is it okay if I share a little bit? You don't know what I'm going to share, but is it okay? Yeah, okay. So Jessica works with a lot of people who live in crisis all the time. They live in crisis. And this is something that I was able to articulate with her, is you don't want to work with people who live in crisis all the time. They're like homeless, chronically, constantly broke, chronically, constantly jump in relationships and all this stuff. You don't want to work with people who live in crisis and that's just their constant victimhood place. Because, I mean, that's like you need some extra special professional help. But what you do want is you want to talk to the people who are at a crisis point. Don't live in crisis. We're at a crisis point. where it's like, I need help right now. Has anyone had like a rash or something? And then they're like, oh my God, I have cancer. Anyone ever have, anyone, does it just be? They're like, oh my God, what is that thing? What's the first thing you do? I have a big problem. I don't know if it's serious. I go to Google and YouTube and I find an answer. Right? That's what we want to tune in with. We want people to associate you and your content consistently with, for me, it's like I'm the relationship guy. I'm the relationship guy. Talk about relationships, breakups, all that stuff. Hook story offer. Here's my story, XYZ. Hey, by the way, who wants a free call with me to help set healthy boundaries? Hey, by the way, who wants this free training on how to regulate your nervous system so you never get in an argument again? Do you guys see kind of the idea or behind this? Okay, so I went off script. I'm sorry. I'm giving you guys a big, broad picture so you can hang some coat hangers on. Let me get back to the specifics in general so we can rock out. Yep. So my goal is I want to help you guys over the next 14 days get 2 to 3 new clients for your one-on-one group coaching or whatever it is. You guys have your price point. You guys have your package. I don't want to change that because that's too much, too fast, too soon. And if you're in Elementum, that creates trauma and overwhelm. So whatever you guys do, do that. We're going to work on one little piece, which is just getting in front of more people, having more sales conversations. If we can fix that bottleneck in your business, then we can see what the next bottleneck is, which is often sales. I'll talk about that in week number 2. I'm going to give you a process for that, but this week we're going to do content. So here's the challenge. Set up a Zoom and a Calendly link if you don't, okay? That's first step. Don't do it tonight or like on the call, but Calendly so you don't have to play calendar tag with people. Set up a Zoom link so that you have more than 40 minutes to spend with people, right? It might cost you $20. And what we're going to do today is the who and what, your rock bottom story. I'm going to go over the 2-step post framework. And we're going to create 5 to 6 of these so that you can start to plan your hook story offer content. Okay? So a 2-step post is supposed to get someone to raise their hand and say, send that to me, please. I want it. And then the hook story offer is supposed to teach them, nurture them, let them know you know exactly what you're doing, and you know the biggest pains, the myths, and the beliefs that they need to overcome so that they can say yes to your next post. Does that make sense to everybody? Yeah? So that's what we're doing today. Next week, okay, you have 5 people who raised their hands and want to book a call with you. Uh-oh, now what? What do I do? What do I do with these people? How do I make them clients? How do they pay me? I'm going to share with you a really simple process that I've gotten down to about, for me, I've been doing it for a long time. I can take someone through a heart-centered sales process in about 5 minutes, okay? And, you guys who have been working with me in the coaching stuff for a while, Jessica, Sheila, I think Eric, my whole thing is like, can you have anyone sit in front of you for 5 to 10 minutes and completely transform their life? If you can get to that point, it's like sales becomes easy because all you do is you just have a transformation, and that builds up over time, and then all of a sudden they're a different person, okay? I boiled that down into heart-centered sales, where you just ask, what's your deepest pain? You can write this down if you want. This is awesome. I'm going to give you guys some cool, fun graphics in a second too. But I had coffee today, so we're doing this. Oh, I love the smiles. Okay, so what's the biggest pain? And I just go straight out and ask. Let's all take 3 deep breaths. You're safe. If emotions come up, that's normal. What's your deepest pain? I go right in. We uncover that for a little bit, and then you naturally turn the conversation like, well, what would you want instead? And I have a 3-step questionnaire I'll give you guys on how to uncover what their deepest values are and how they know that to get those values met. And then you just tie that, what their deepest desire is, to what you're offering. So at that point, you're not even selling anything. Hey, do you want my thing? What I say is, look, let's just pause. I uncover your deepest pain. I know exactly what that is. That's easy stuff. Nothing's wrong with you. You're not broken. You want this. That's not that hard to get if you know how to process the unconscious mind, heal trauma, XYZ, whatever you guys do. So how about this? Are you open to hearing what I have to offer? At that point, you took them to the deepest lows and the highest highs. They're feeling great. They're like, of course. After that moment, when you get a permission, you're not selling anything anymore. You're just presenting what it is you do. And it can be as easy as this. Who here thinks they need to have like a big offer and a program and a course? Who's tried to do that in the past? Anyone? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I need to make a podcast. I need to like do a 30-second reel every single day for the rest of my life. And I need to have a premium offer and all that stuff. I'm going to show you a picture because I already had this plan. Because I talked to lots of people in the last 2 weeks, and I've been doing this for a while. Let me know when you guys can see my screen. Everyone see it? Thumbs up. One person, one problem. You're the bridge. You're the solution. You're the program. Okay? You know, I was listening to Russell Brunson and all this stuff. It's one person, one problem, one solution, one offer. Alex Hormozy shoving it down your throat. Awesome. But what if you can't explain to people what you do? Then what? You just be the bridge. Right? Sell you. Sell your time. 6 weeks with me, $1,500. Let's go. I'm going to kick some ass. My first program is called the Rising Phoenix program. And you know what I did? I tried to do a step-by-step process. But what I found is every time I walk someone through it, well, this person needed week 4 and week number 1. This person needed week number 2 on week number 6. And I was like, what's the point of having a process if everyone's different? So I said, forget that. This is what I'm telling you. I cannot promise you, and you guys can watch this on the replay, that I'm starting to feel the flow. You guys feeling the flow? Yeah, okay. So hopefully I'm recording. Yes. Watch it on the replay. Write this down verbatim if you want. Practice it, because this is what I did for the first 4 years of my coaching. I said, listen, every single person is completely different. Okay? Every person is completely different. So I can't guarantee you a result. I can't guarantee an outcome because I don't know what you went through in childhood. I don't know what your trauma is. I don't know what you're needing, but I have a tool belt, right? So I can't promise you a result, but I can promise that at the end of our 6 weeks together, you're going to be a completely different person. A person who has whatever I just uncovered in the heart-centered sales process: freedom, intimacy, connection, love, happiness, wholeness, whatever their values are. I can promise you this, 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 and this. And I'm just reflecting back whatever they said during the process without all of the pain, 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 pain. And I just took notes so I can read it. That's it. I'm a hypnotist first, a coach second. Okay, guys? I love hypnosis. And the most hypnotic words that a human being can ever hear are the words that they just said. It's called the echo technique. It's one of the first things I learned from David Snyder. Okay? So find their deepest pain. Find out what they want instead. Usually it's some weird, vague. Anyone notice that? I want freedom. I want love. I want confidence. Okay, can you put confidence in a wheelbarrow and carry it around? No. What the hell is confidence? What does that mean? Why is that important to you? Get specific. How do you know that you're going to be confident? Well, I can do XYZ. Beautiful. I can help with that. How do you know you're receiving love? Well, I'm in a happy, healthy relationship. Beautiful. I can help you with that. Preston Smile says there's a goal line and there's a soul line. Anyone know Preston? Yeah, there's a goal line and soul line. It's hard to articulate the soul line, but you can make it a goal if you figure out what it actually means. Okay? So this is enough theory. I'm just in flow right now because this is fun. I'm going to take us down into some real practical stuff. Who's ready? Drop a 1 if you are ready to kick some butt and get rocking. Okay. So there's 5 steps here. And most of you, if you've been a coach for any time at all, you probably have already done the first 2. So let's all give ourselves a pat on the back. Yeah, you guys did great. You already did first two. If you set up a Calendly link, set up a Zoom call, you guys are good. If you haven't, those are first steps I want you to take care of tonight. What we're going to do on the call is the who and what. Okay, because if you don't know who you're talking to and what thing you're offering, even if it's a little tiny thing that you're offering, like a free coaching call, no one's going to care. Okay, because there are people out there who specialize down to the nanoparticle. Okay, I help women who are over the age of 45 struggling with divorce with 2 kids and a stay-at-home mom, and now they're starting their own business. And I specialized in it for the past 10 years. You're not going to compete with her if you don't know who and what you are offering. Okay, so let's start here. Everyone, deep breath. Now, with your notebooks, here's the workshop portion, and all of this stuff is going to be super short, jam-packed, actionable steps, okay? Small baby steps leads to building the kingdom brick by brick, okay? So I want you to ask yourself, who do you help, and why is that important, okay? Doesn't need to be super specific like your 15-page ideal client avatar that I know everyone's filled out 15 times and hates it with a passion. No. Who do you help? Who do you enjoy helping? Yeah, like help people in relationships. You like help people make money, overcome COVID. I don't know. Who do you like helping, right? And the second piece of that is, why is that important to you? Not to them. Why is it important for you to help these people? And we're going to go big picture. And then I'm going to help you refine it down to something really super specific. All right, I'm going to give you guys 30 more seconds because this doesn't need to be too in-depth. I think I was doing this with Anna the other day, and she was like, I help women with health stuff. And I was like, perfect. We can work with that. Anna, how long did it take for us to boil it down to like some really specific stuff?
Maybe like max 10 minutes.
Yeah. Yep. And this is why I really like working with people in large groups of people, because the way that my brain works is I'm an external processor, meaning if it's just me sitting at a piece of paper, it's really hard sometimes. You guys ever feel that way? You're like, okay. But if someone gives me something, it's like pulling a lawnmower, and like it comes into my ears and it just revs my engine, and I just spit out answers, and then I just make stuff up, and I'm like, that's it. That's the next step. Okay. All right. So who do you work with, and why is it important to you? Let's just get some 30-second shares. Who wants to tune in? I highly encourage just jumping in, even if you're a little bit introverted, because it leads to some fun stuff. And if you share, oftentimes you hear something you need to hear. So 30-second shares. Who do you help? Why is it important? Jamie? Oh, okay. Lily, go for it.
I help overfunctioning codependent women. Why it's important? Because I was there and I spent too much time there until I got really sick. So that's why.
Beautiful. So I help overfunctioning codependent women before they get really sick like me. Beautiful. Who else? Ja?
Awesome.
Go for it, brother.
Yeah. So I help spiritually integrated or integrating entrepreneurs to up-level their business and also figure out their mindset, any sort of quirks they have in their mind that are holding them back.
Beautiful. So you help spiritually minded entrepreneurs with quirks in their mind that are holding them back.
Yeah.
Why is that important for you? To help those kind of people?
They're my tribe. It's like a spiritual soul thing. So if these people are successful, then we're all successful.
Hey, I love that. Now, I already know that there's a value in there. Anyone hear that? It's like if they're successful, then we're successful together. That's like community value. It's like it's connection, right? Reciprocity. Those are all values. And I want you guys to start thinking about this. I've been trained to listen like this, but I want you guys to have little ear prick moments when people are sharing, like, oh, that's a value. And you can also say, oh, there's a trigger under there. You just said a powerful word. I want to poke it and just see what's underneath that. Okay, because underneath that is all of your content. Okay, like when you go to the doctors and you're like, "Hey doc, something hurts," and they're like, "Okay, does that hurt?" No. What about this? Yeah, that. Okay, it's probably this, right? So I want you guys to get used to poking stuff. Who else? 30-second shares. This is fun. Eric?
I like working with young men in their 20s and 30s that are not living in their purpose, self-medicating with alcohol. Help them really get in touch with their emotional intelligence, start living in integrity.
Why is that important to you?
Important to me because I want to be the mentor I was looking for when I was in my early 20s, struggling with this stuff.
Write that down.
Yeah.
Write that down.
Oh, I have. Yeah.
Good. I needed a mentor. And then while everyone else is, I'm going to have 1 or 2 more shares. I want you to tune in for the next piece is what is the deep, immense pain that I experienced because I didn't have a mentor. I want you to just think about that for a second because I feel like you already have the next piece. So everyone else, we're going to do 2 more shares. Eric, what's the deep, immense pain I experienced because I lacked a mentor? All right, who's next? 1 or 2 more. Jamie? Hey, let's do it.
I'll get messy. Let's get messy. All right. I help women when they are in an identity crisis, who are, let's see, who am I outside of my roles? And why that's important is catching it now before it costs everything. And it's so that they can live in their purpose again. And I relate to the mentor thing. I relate to the mentor thing because I didn't have that. So it cost me everything.
Beautiful. It cost me everything. And I'm so excited. Does anyone really want to share the next one? Or are you guys ready to move on? Paul, go for
I
it.
actually want to add to that. I'm finding that this is probably the common theme. I can kind of see the string that's running through all of this is that everyone didn't have the mentor when we were younger. So we're all now coming to this place where we're like, I need to be that person to be in that role to help the people who are coming up who are just like me.
Exactly. First is the inner child, and then you become mom or dad. And then, okay, now I'm a teenager. What the hell do I do? Mentor. Right? So that's everyone's next stage is you healed your inner child. Now you're the mentor that helps someone else who's a child trying to be an adult. Right? Something to think about. Thank you, Ja. Paul, go for it. Last one.
I haven't done this before, but I think the people that I work with really struggle with shame / a strong inner critic, apathy, and self-doubt. And the reason is that was me. And I have an immense amount of compassion for that.
Yeah. So shame, inner critic, self-doubt, it was you and you have compassion for it. Right? So you've experienced really deep pain and you managed somehow to claw your way out.
Yeah.
Right? And now you're like, I don't want anyone else to feel that pain.
Yeah. Yeah. They have to go through their own journey with it. But yeah, a mentor, a guide can speed things up.
Beautiful. Love that. Thank you for sharing, brother. And thanks for doing something new. All right. So I'm going to use Jamie as an example because you just hit something on the head. I think you said something along the line. What was that thing I like caught on?
Was it the mentorship?
It was the before something bad happens. What's that thing before something bad happens? Before it all falls apart or something?
Yeah. Before it all falls apart.
Is that what you said?
I think so.
Okay. So I want you guys to think. I want you guys to take my ears off my head and put them on your head for a second. Okay?
Yeah, I think it was catch it now before it costs everything.
That's okay. I want you have James's ears now. You just heard that. Catch it now before it costs everything. Boom. Anyone ever been there? Where they lost everything? Yeah? Fucking rock bottom? Yeah. Okay. Who would have liked to have Jamie standing as a bridge between you and where you want to go without having to lose everything in between? Anyone? Yeah. And how many of you have gone through the dark night of the soul once or twice? Yeah. So you guys know it's like, okay, I could do it, but like there's got to be a better way. Right? Yeah. So catch it now before you lose everything. This is the next question. I don't want you guys to start writing yet because I want to workshop this with Jamie for a second. But what's an example of that? What's an example of that? Okay, so who do you help? Blah blah blah. Why is it important? Blah blah blah. What's an example of that? Okay, and I learned this. I can't remember who it was. I took like some weird, obscure copywriting workshop for $27 like 2 years ago, but I pulled one question from it. She said, if you want to have impactful, clear copywriting that's going to make a difference in people, you have to be really specific. She said, you just ask one question over and over and over again. What's an example of that? So I'm sorry I can't give credit to the woman. I think she's like your South Pacific Asian grandmother or something. Like that's like that's like her brand, right? I can't remember what her name is, but if you want to find her. So Jamie, catch it before you lose everything. What's an example, a moment in your life on your journey where you lost everything and you wish that you just had someone say, hey, just do this, or you wish you listened to what you already knew? What's an example of that?
Divorce, a business. I owned a tattoo. Oh yeah, divorce, right? I owned a business that and owned a couple tattoo shops, but one of them imploded on itself, and it had, what do you call it, a mutiny? Like resulted in that shop just imploding and closing. Like it was like catastrophic. So ultimately, multiple businesses closing, divorce, and yeah, really feeling alone.
Yeah, and feeling alone. Write that down too.
Yeah, feeling alone.
So that right there, this is why I do. What's an example of that? Because everyone here is, because you're heart-centered, right? Who here identifies as a highly sensitive person? You notice pretty much everyone raise their hand? Okay. Yeah, who here is a coach? Everyone's a coach. Okay, awesome. When you can share from your experience, you start to gather people just like you, a couple steps behind. So Jamie already, and I'm sure you already know, if you just talk about your situation with imploding with divorce, imploding in business, people are going to resonate with you so hard and they're going to feel like they know you so deep. Your content's already made. Because the next piece, I did it out of order in the thing because I made it quick. The next piece, what's an example of that? And you ask yourself, is that an Advil problem or is that an ER problem? Jamie, when you were getting a divorce, was that an Advil problem or was that a emergency room problem?
So that was like, is that your aorta or whatever that's right here? And there was like actually blood squirting out of my neck. And I'm like, oh, a Band-Aid and some Advil is totally fine. Like I'll walk it off. Like it's cool. I got it. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool.
I got it.
So that's what I'm saying. Even in the rock bottom moments, your survival strategies and probably your fucking, I mean, fortitude and strength of like, I can make this, I need to make it happen on my own, was so strong that even in those moments, you couldn't even ask for help. Right? Jamie, unmute. We're doing this, right? This is a good example. So what was the moment that you're like, okay, my divorce, everything fell apart there. Business imploded. I got thrown off the boat in the middle of the ocean, right? Mutiny aboard. What made you say, I need something to change? What was that? What was the rock bottom where it's like, I can't bounce. I just splatted. What's the rock bottom?
Physical symptoms of like noticing sensations in my body where I'm like, I don't feel right. I don't feel good. And then the second part was relationship, like getting into a relationship with someone and feeling super unseen and being like, wow, I have done all the things. I've checked all the boxes. I got the cool Cadillac. I got the cars. I got everything. And yet my life is falling apart. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyone feel like they know Jamie a little bit more? Anyone's heart feels something after hearing her experience? Yeah? Okay. If Jamie were to be like, hey, you know, if you want to avoid rock bottom and like not have your business close and not get a divorce, and like I can help you do that in 6 weeks, anyone just feel any kind of pull, even if you're not in that position, be like, oh, in the back of my mind, if I am going through divorce, I think I'd probably want to have a conversation with her. Anyone feel that? Yeah. Yeah. That's what I want you guys to get to. Jamie?
Quick question here. And I'm celebrating with balloons. Apparently it's this month.
That was a win. Yes.
Yeah, that was awesome. Now, would it serve to also throw in, and now I have X, Y, and Z?
Absolutely. Yeah. 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 We're going to get into that hook story
Okay.
offer concept. I'm just getting into like, what's the rock bottom? What's the pain? Where are your clients at when they need you the most?
Okay.
What's that point? Because if they're in an Advil stage, they just need to know who you are so that when their knee gives out and when they end up in the hospital or when they start getting sick, when they start getting the symptoms, you don't want them to think about Google. You want them to know you're the person.
Yeah.
Okay. I built my business on basically referrals as like the cry guy. People used to call me the cry guy. Okay. The side guy. And then I was the cry guy. And what would happen is I would work with a woman who's going through a breakup. And then, 3 months later, she's, oh my gosh, I found the man of my dreams and now I'm moving to Brazil and I'm married. What? I'm like, that's fucking awesome. And then her friend would go through a breakup and she's like, yo, girl, I got a dude. He's a fucking wizard. I didn't start calling myself a wizard. Someone else did. I think. I might be lying, but I'm pretty sure someone called me a wizard first. Okay? So that's what I want you guys to think about. Who do you have to present yourself as to the world so that people know, like, yo, James is the breakup dude, even if I don't call myself the breakup dude. Okay? Beautiful. So that was great because Jamie, you gave us what's called a model. You gave us an example of what it looks like. So now everyone else, you're going to do the same process, same practice, which is, what's an example of that? Okay, we just did, who do you help? Why is it important? And I have to take that out. What's an example of that? So when you are going through something similar, a pain, problem, challenge, whatever it is, what's an example? Give me a story. I did this with Lily, and it went in the direction of, okay, she helps relationships, but she was talking about self-worth, and she talked about a work-related thing. You might go in that direction. It's like you're a tree and you're going off in little directions. We want to make sure that you stick in one category. It's relationships, business, or health. Stick in one of the main three for now. Do one, right? And then go from there. So what's an example of your pain, your experience, your problem, you helping someone? Go for it. Let me see if I can find some fun music for you guys.
James,
Yes, any questions at any time. I got you.
a
What's up?
relationship business, like your own business? Is that what you mean? Or you mean like business or career if somebody doesn't have a business?
I got you. Who do you help? There's only three things that you can, there's only three problems people have.
Mhm.
They have problems with relationships, they have problem with money, or they have problem with their health. And there's infinite amount of solutions within there and niches.
Mhm.
But if you can pick one bucket and stick there, you can find your way into a niche.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. So what's an example of that? Jamie was, I lost my business, I lost my marriage. What's an example of your helping someone and how you had the same experience in your life, a story that you have? And I'm going to find some music. All right, guys, wrapping up. Great. For those lost in the beat, we're going to turn it down. All right, everyone, deep breath in. Whew. All right, everyone getting some value so far? Some knowledge, some wisdom? Yeah, this is good. We're about to start ramping up, okay? So I realized that we used Jamie as an example because it was so good, right? What's an example of that? What'd she say? She said, get help now before you lose everything. Something along those lines, right? What's an example of that? So I help women who experience codependency. Okay, what's an example of that? In your own life, in someone else's life you've helped? So for instance, me, I have this 4-step framework I just made up 2 weeks ago, right? Because once you figure out what a framework is, it's like, oh man, I feel like I see frameworks everywhere now, right? It's like I I took someone else's eyeballs, oop, put it in my head. Now I see everything, right? So one of the things that I kind of built my business off of was relationships and toxic relationship patterns. You got toxic relationship patterns? Who here has toxic relationship patterns? Everyone? Yep, pretty much. So there's this concept. It's so funny because I was just talking to Lily about this. As a hypnotist, the first thing you learn is this concept called being artfully vague. Being artfully vague. Write that down. Write that down. Artful vagueness, artfully vague. And the way I like to describe artful vagueness is I have a cup. I have a container. I have a container. Now I can give Sheila this container, and she may want to fill it with water. I give Anna this container. She may want to fill it with Gatorade. Jamie, she has a container over there. Jamie, what's in your container? Is it water?
Yes.
Water. Some people might want to put some wine in there, right? Different people, different preferences. What happens is, if I give you a container with my words, you're going to fill it up with whatever's inside of you. Okay? So when I say toxic relationships to someone who's struggling with abuse, oh, I'm in an abusive relationship. Someone struggling with codependency, oh, I'm codependent. Someone struggling with struggle setting boundaries, guess what? That's toxic. Yeah, it sounds like James is literally talking directly to me, and I'm being artfully vague. So an example of this is, think of a moment in time where you felt really loved. I'm giving you a container that's very specific. I'm not telling you what to put in there. You're going to go back through your mind and say, oh, when did I feel really loved? And then you're going to put it into the container. And then what's going to happen is you're going to associate that container and what you put inside with me. Because I'm talking and you're thinking about love. So now all of a sudden, I'm associated and anchored to whatever I told you to put in the container, and you put in whatever you wanted, so it can't be wrong. Okay? I'm giving you guys a little bit of a higher level concept, but this is important. Let's all take a deep breath in. When you're doing your two-step posts that I'm going to show you in a moment, using examples, you have to be really short. 3 sentences at most. Hey, struggle with this. I got this. Drop a comment. Something simple like that. Fits in a little Facebook square or something. Okay? Hook story offer, you can have a longer post, but I want you to think of like a really small thing, small thing, small thing. And then when you do your longer pieces of content, you can give an example and tell your story. So I just made a framework up last week, and it was called the poem framework, right? And it's how you end an argument in 5 minutes or less. All right, think about that. What do you want? I have arguments with my wife. What do you want? I want to solve it. I don't want them, and I want to fix it fast. Okay, I have this for you. My 4-step poem framework. It stands for process it, own it, empathize, and make it right. It's easy to remember. Process, own it, empathize, make it right. And I just take people through a little step. Now, if I want to offer this as a freebie, what do? I say, what is it going to do for you? Okay? What's an example of this? I want everyone to take a deep breath in. I remember way back when. Everyone remember the COVID days? Everyone remember COVID? Yeah? Okay. Well, me and my wife were long distance during COVID. She lived in Canada, in Toronto, and I lived in the States. And we saw each other in February for the last time. Okay, we were together for like 3 years. And then all of a sudden, mandates happen and we can't cross the border. So for 18 months, I couldn't see my partner. Now we both met as dance instructors. So physical touch is our top love language. Can you guys imagine that? Dancers, it's like hugging, breathing, touch. No, nothing. None of that for 18 months. Do you know how hard that was? It was like some of the worst pain in our entire life. But human beings have needs. So what did we start exploring? We started exploring polyamory. Anyone ever explore polyamory? Anyone here just no? It's one of the most painful, hurtful, gut-wrenching experiences you could possibly have as a human being, I believe. Okay? And polyamory brought us literally to breaking up. Broke us up. Me, I said, I can't do it. Oh, too much pain. My heart is being ripped out after 18 months. So I remember I was sitting there on a park bench. I was sitting on a park bench. We broke up. And what's my home screen picture? What do you think? It's her. I want you to imagine sitting on a park bench and you just broke up with the love of your life. Can't do anything about it. You're looking at your phone and you can't even look at it anymore. You can't even look at a picture of the woman you love the most. Like, think about how, like, I'm even feeling right now, like, just devastation. I can't even look at I can't look at her because it hurts too much. But I want to. I want to look at her, but I can't. Can you imagine how much I could have used the poem framework to solve that problem? To be able to process my emotions, to be able to own my part, because I was not innocent, you guys, to own my part in it. And then to pull away, like, what's her part, what's my part, to distinguish that as an empath who's hard setting boundaries. And then to also empathize with her, because it wasn't just my pain. She was in deep pain too. We were acting out of deep pain. And then to learn how to make it right. Can you imagine what I would have paid to have that process? Well, listen, this is what I'm going to do. Okay. I put the training in a 5-minute video, really simple. There's a worksheet that goes along with it. All I need to do is comment below and let me know, just type poem below, and I'm going to send that over to you. And I want to make sure you never end up in the same position where you almost lose the love of your life. Okay? Everyone, deep breath in. 30-second shares. Who wants the poem framework? 30-second shares. What did I do? I want you to tune in. What did I do and what did you feel when I was telling the story?
Yeah, I felt your pain. I felt your heart. I felt the gravity of it, like my human related to your human, because I, have had the experience of severe heartbreak. And then I also felt the fuck, I would have paid. I just want to hand you whatever it is. I want what you had, like what you have to offer. Yeah.
Yep. Because Jamie's been through a painful breakup before. She knows how that feels. Who else? What did I do and how to make you feel? Lily, go for it.
Yeah. So you shared your pain, what you were going through. So that's what you did. And then what's the other question? So what did you do and what
And
else?
how did it make you feel? Yeah, what was I doing? Why did it work? And what did you feel?
Yeah, because you shared your pain, so your story, but it was a painful story. So I felt your pain and I had empathy for you, for what you were going through.
Yep.
If I was going through that at this moment, I want this poem thing.
Yes, I want it. Yes, sharing the pain made me feel safe. Ooh, good, good. And let's have one more. What did I do? Why did it work? Why do you want to get it? And how did it make you feel? This is an example.
You're being vulnerable and authentic in sharing your pain and your story, which is being that honest, being that vulnerable. It draws people to you, it connects people to you. And yep.
Beautiful. Did anyone feel like I was selling you anything? No, why not? Quick share. Why didn't it feel like I was selling you anything? I was, but why didn't it feel like it? Think about that. It was. I sold you my poem framework.
It
Paul?
felt like a open hand, like like a different energy than selling. It just felt like, here's this that helped me. So I guess maybe another aspect would be it was more about you than it was about them, but they were hearing it like this could be for me.
Heart-centered sales. Write it down. Heart-centered sales. Okay. As I said, I'm a hypnotist first, Okay, I'm a hypno nerd, and you don't have to be afraid of hypnosis. I just use language to create a three-dimensional experience for your brain for you to step into and have an experience almost like a virtual reality so that you don't have to go through the pain. It's a virtual training deck. That's it, with my words. It's a skill I would love every one of you to learn, because if you can tell a story, I forgot what the term was, but basically, if you tell a story, human beings, in order to understand it, have to put themselves in the main character's shoes. They have to. One of the characters. Some people resonate with Darth Vader versus Luke because they can empathize with his pain, his story. I like Dragon Ball Z. So I'm Goku, bro. I'm Goku. But I have a client and a friend who's like, I'm Vegeta. I'm like, I'm not Vegeta. But he can put himself in one of the shoes of the character. So when you tell your story, what you're doing is you're saying, here's your pain, but it's my pain. Here's your pain, my pain. This is the consequence of the pain. And the pain I experienced because I did some stupid shit and I didn't have information. I was in the pit. And then I found the bridge. This is where I ended up. Now, I created something for you. Write that down. Create something to solve a problem. This is so good. I'm just making this stuff up. It makes me so happy. This is good. I didn't write this down. This is good. Create something to solve a problem. Give it away for free. Give it away for free. Because here's the thing, you guys. In the age of information, anyone can look up way better information on YouTube. For free. They don't have to pay a goddamn thing. They have university level programs on YouTube. Not even videos, but like 10-part series on YouTube. You're not competing with that, my friends. It's way better. I'm trying. It's way better. So it's way easier to tell your story and have people feel you and stand in your shoes than it is to try and say, look at this cool shiny thing that I have to sell you. No. If you can solve a problem for them, they know, like, and trust you. Lily, how many one-on-one calls have me and you gotten on over the years for free? And I haven't got a dime from you. How many? 10, 15, 20? Huh? Something? Jessica, when I was doing meditation Mondays on the side of a hill, when I first started learning this stuff 6 years ago, 7 years ago, Jessica was sitting there on a blanket with me and my mom. Okay? She's gone through my Dragon Rider program. She's done one-on-one with me. She's done these things. Jessica, have you ever felt like I'm like pressuring you and trying to get you to buy stuff?
No.
No, but I have something that would help you. And I'm saying, I love that, Paul. You just helped me. It's an open-handed thing. I'm not trying to punch you in the face with it. Buy my shit. No. It's here. I have something. Let me show you why it's so cool and how it's helped me. How's it going to help you? Okay, so that's the mindset, the framework I want you guys to tune into. Now, let's go back. Everyone, deep breath in. We bring you up and we bring you down, and we are about to drop back into the thing, but I have YouTube up.
So James, are you selling? So you're selling through the story? Is that what it is? You said I was selling, but I was not selling.
This is what I want you to think about.
Mm.
You have to sell a coaching call with you. Before you sell them a product, you have to sell giving you time.
Mhm.
Okay, that's a commodity, a value. That's actually more important than money. You can buy time back. Like you can buy other people to do stuff for you so you get your time back.
Mhm.
But if you give me an hour of your time, that's a big ask, actually. Who here is busy? I'm freaking busy, you guys. Right? So you have to sell the coaching. And what you have to do, you have to offer value first so they see the value, so they want to get on a call with you. So here, if you can solve a problem for them before they even talk to you,
Mhm.
boom. Paul, why are you on the call tonight?
I mean, what came up intuitively was this has a lot of value for me.
Did I ask you for money?
No, sir.
Nope. And I'm not going to ask any of you guys for money. This is actually, I'm getting value from all of you being here so that I can refine this process so I can charge for it. This is a beta test. Okay, so I'm not going to get into it. Long story short, what is an example of that? Let's do some 30-second shares. We kind of went into it. I gave you an example. What's an example of my pain? COVID, separation, long distance, sitting on a bench. I gave you a very specific example. And when I got really specific, it made you feel something. If I said, hey, are you struggling with feeling disconnected from your partner and you have an argument? Who wants to buy my coaching package? You guys would be like, advertising. If I tell you my story and then say, hey, here's this thing that would have helped me, I made it for me, and I want to offer it to you for free, boom, now they're like, oh, give me one. Okay, so what's an example that you guys came up with? I want to, like, the 30-second condensed story version. Who wants to jump in? You're doing great. I'm going to try and speed it up because I want to make sure we get through everything. Lily?
I don't know. Yeah. So, what did we say? Yeah. So for me, it was burnout. So the physical symptoms, that's what happened. So I was fatigued. I could not sleep. I had insomnia. I was like a zombie. My hair was falling. I was gaining weight. So there was all these symptoms that were happening. And because I had burnout, and I didn't know what burnout was at the time. And so that stopped me in my track because I needed to look at it because I couldn't function. It was really hard. Going to work and having to do everything I need to do like normally with all of that, dealing with it.
That's beautiful. And what did that like made my heart drop? Anyone feel that? So I want you to tune into this. For you, when we get to the hook story offer, it's like, and you don't have to say it, this is like first thing my thing comes up is like, it's like when I looked in the mirror and saw my hair falling out, I knew something needed to change. And people are like, what? And now you go into the story. It's like, what's that, quick second hook? It's like, wait, what? Just that. I would just read that just because, right? Mm-hmm. And then you tell your story of like, I was overworked at my job. I needed to set boundaries, didn't know how, X, Y, Z, blah, 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 right? Just go through a day in the life of Lily to make people step in your shoes who's living the same exact problem. And then drop a comment below. Let me know if this resonated. Call to action. Let me know if this resonated. Right? Now all of a sudden, you get 5 people raising their hands, fire emojis, heart emojis. Send them a message. Hey, thanks for connecting. It meant a lot that you're, appreciating my post. I'm curious. Write this down. I'm curious what resonated with you about my post. I'm curious, what about my post resonated? And now all of a sudden, some stranger on Facebook is telling you about their life story, about how they went through the same exact thing, about how they're struggling with the same exact relationship challenge. And they're literally, because they feel empathy for you, they're like, wow, you get it. They feel safe. So now they're going to start listing their problems, and you can start asking more specific questions. And hey, if you're up for it, like, it's not a sales call. If you're up for it, I'd love to jump on a 30-minute call with you and hear more about your story. Boom. That's a touch point. Okay. Now, I'm going to let you guys write that. Do you guys see why this is the first one I'm doing? And it's really impactful to have all you here because I'm like, oh, that. So the rough draft is done. The next one's going to be 10 times better because I'm going to touch on all these points. Eventually, I won't need you guys here. I'll make the content myself. Right? That's the mindset I want you guys to get into. Touch points. Okay. So when you get on a call with someone, thank you, Eric. You're the bomb. Touch point. Get on a call with someone and just hold space for them. How many of us feel super disconnected and lonely? Right? And like, Any human contact feels like fucking amazing. If you can do that, and I want you guys to think about this, this is a mindset thing, and I know we have stuff to get to, but like this is really important. I want you guys to get in the mindset of if you're walking through a desert and you haven't had a drink of water your entire life, think about that for a second, okay? Think of you've walking through the desert, you're parched. You don't even know that you can ask for water. You don't even know water exists because your mom and dad didn't give you water, and water is connection, understanding, validation, being heard, being understood, right? Empathized with. If you can just sit down with someone and give them a drink of water and they didn't know that they were thirsty, that can change someone's life. I've had someone, I got on a free 30-minute call with some, maybe 60 minutes, like 2 years ago. I just did one simple little coaching tool, and you know, her world was really gray. And I said, what color would make it stand out? She said, blue. Okay, turn your world blue. It's blue skies everywhere. Just color your whole world blue. That changed her whole life. She still messages me and sends me gratitude years later. One little small act of kindness. She never paid me anything. And she can't. She has 2 kids. The thing is like, but if you give, oh, it's my heart starting to feel a thing. Damn. If you live in the give and offer that support, you have no idea who at what point is going to come back around. She might tell her cousin who's dying of this and the boyfriend of the thing, and then finally now you have a client 6 months later. When I first started, I did 6 months of free coaching calls with anyone I could jump on, and I didn't make $1 because I wasn't charging $1. I just wanted to be really good. 6 months after that, when people were going through the breakup, when they had a friend who was going through a challenging thing, who do you think they thought of first? Because I did one small act of kindness that no one else does. I got a wave of people, and at that time, then I was starting to charge. Okay, I'm the cry guy. Yes, thank you, Jamie. Me and Jamie, I feel like we got to connect. This is good. This is good. Okay, let's get into it. One more example of what's an example of that? Okay, thanks for keeping me on track, Eric, and then we'll go into the next strategy. And for Lily, what I want you to do is take them through a day in their life. Like, here's my problem, and then specific example of what a day was. That's a technique. Okay, one more. I'm feeling jaw. Let's do it. Let's do it, bro. What's an example? Someone going through something, helping you. You're having a pain problem. What's an example?
Are you talking about a personal example or like a client example?
Could be either or, both.
Uh, Give me a moment to think. I'm like catching up because I'm like processing a lot of notes here. So I'm kind of like
That's not
I'm
good.
being meticulous in my writing, but so I'm like a little
That's
yeah,
okay.
I actually I don't have anything right now.
We can come back. No worries.
Yeah.
I just wanted to, I like poking people. It's okay. I love you, John. All right, one more quick example. Yeah, example of this.
All right, I'll go.
Go ahead, Eric. I can feel it. Do it.
For me, alcohol was both the problem and the solution. I wasted years of my life in this cycle. I had no passion. I was working a job I hated.
Too big. Too big. That's great. Now I want you to take us into a day in the life of Eric. Years in the cycle. Beautiful. Bring it down. What's the specific example of one thing that you just said?
I'd go to work. I'd come home. I'd drink, make my pain go away, wake up with a hangover, do it all over again.
What was the pain you were trying to flush down? What was the pain?
It was not living in my integrity, not
How? What's a specific example of that? I got you.
specific.
Specific example of living out of integrity. Yeah, it's vulnerable. This is it. We're peeling back layers.
Well, it was loneliness. It was no
Everyone,
purpose, no connection.
I want you to, you said one word. You said one word. How many felt his heart? I want you to look at everyone in the space right now, Eric. You said one word. And that was more impactful than the rest of everything you were saying. You got down to loneliness. Like imagine if you were to just make a video and just be like, loneliness. I want everyone to just feel it for a second. You can feel the heavy, the weight, chills. So what I want you to tune into, Eric, is I want you to remember a time. Write this down, everyone. If you're having trouble with the example thing, remember a time when. This is a hypnotic question I ask. It's so easy. You can basically make anyone feel anything at any time you want by asking them to remember a time. It's a hypnotic tool. Remember a time you felt love. Remember a time you felt sad. Remember a time you felt good. Remember a time you felt lonely. So, Eric, tell us about a specific moment in time where you felt lonely and you used alcohol to try and wash it down.
Tell you about it?
Yeah.
Wow, like thousands of times.
Exactly. You just want one.
Yeah.
Where were you? Inside or outside?
I was inside. I was living in this tiny home out on a golf course I was working at. Just sitting at the table, drinking beer, writing.
And what did you think was the cause of the loneliness? At that time, were you aware of the loneliness?
Yeah, I was doing the same old thing. I wasn't out creating connections with people. I was low energy, low vibration.
Connection, low energy, low vibration. Sitting at a table in the back of a golf course in my tiny house after work, all by myself, just writing, drinking, alone, feeling sad. And now the question is, this is a technique. What would you tell him now? What would you tell him? You walk into the house, you see your younger self like that. What did he always need to hear? What did he always need to hear? That would have made all the difference.
You are loved. You're buried in the alcohol. You're in a rut. And you can get yourself out of it with one decision and the belief that you can.
Take a deep breath. I felt you come up. I want you to go and sit there with him. What did he need to hear from you?
Your life's going to be more beautiful than you can imagine.
There. Oh, I'm about to cry. I'm about to cry. Anyone else? I'm about to cry. Because I remember sitting in my bed by myself, thinking I'm broken, I'm fucked up, no one's ever gonna love me. Right? In my mom's house, lost my job, lost my friends, lost my community. Just sitting there, crying. Didn't want anyone to know, couldn't ask for help. But I just imagine going back there and saying, bro, your life in 10 years, I wouldn't have believed him. I said, fuck you. I would have told him, fuck you, James. No, you're not. You're not going to be a life coach, fucking idiot. Right? And you sitting there in the golf course, you might have been like, what are you talking about, dude? Stop fucking me. Get out of here. Yeah. So that's what I want. Did you got, I'm feeling it too, like it's a thing. Did anyone feel Eric? Okay. Whew. Everyone, deep breath. Eric, how are you feeling now in this moment? Now that you've been vulnerable in front of the space, you shared your story, and everyone feels connected to you.
Yeah.
What's that like?
I'm good. It's always this way with you, man. Like, I have to get over this fear hump of just opening my mouth and speaking up, and then you really dig it out of me. And it's empowering, man. It feels amazing.
Good.
And
Now, go ahead. Sorry.
oh yeah, just yeah, that was it.
Good. So you have a specific example, and we saw what I want you guys to think of is like it's one story. Once it's like I was sitting in my bed thinking this, feeling this. This is what happened, and I just I needed help. I don't know. And then future you steps in. What did you need? Well, was it a 4-step framework that you learned over time? Was it something you needed to hear? Was it a limiting belief change? What needed to change? Right? And I'm doing this and I'm getting really granular. I started big. Who do I help? I help young aspiring men who need a mentor and don't know where to go. Awesome. Fuck yeah. Cool. That's awesome. No one cares. Right? No one cares on Instagram and Facebook. We can get specific. Boom. And this is helpful for you guys. When you guys can remember your story, it also brings the feeling back to say like, oh yeah, revitalize this. I need to do this, right? Because I was in that pain. If I could have gone back and helped me, I would. So there's a million people just like me struggling in the same way who need to hear my words. It gets you over the fear of being vulnerable online. Okay? So let's drop in. What's a specific example? Is it an Advil or ER? And how did it make you feel? I think I give you guys a pretty good look at that. Yeah, like kind of the concept, what did it make you feel? I'm going to turn this into a little worksheet so you guys can have it, so don't worry too much. What was keeping you stuck? Notice I took you guys through that. And what did you need to learn to know you needed to help and couldn't do it alone? I just walked, by accident, didn't mean to, I walked Eric through that process. Does that make sense? So you saw what it looks like, and it's not easy. You got to dig through the layers, okay? So the next exercise, everyone deep breath. So you have an example. That's so funny. What did it make you feel? What was keeping you stuck? And what did you learn to know you needed help and couldn't do it alone? What was the stuck and what did you need to know or learn? What was the turning point or what was the pain you needed to experience before you're like, fuck, I need help? Then I went to the doctors. Okay? So I'm going to give you guys a couple minutes to play with this. So quick 30-second shares and we're going to move on to the next piece. Quick 30-second shares. And this is how I want you guys to think about it. How about what's the big takeaway so far from these exercises now that you're seeing things in a little bit more detail? And then, we ask the question, what was keeping you stuck? What did you learn? How to make you feel? I want you to start tuning in. What are you learning from this process so far? That's what I want to do with a 30-second share. What are you learning from the process so far?
I'll go.
Yep.
So I'm learning from the process that sharing the story, a specific moment with the people, and then giving freely certain things, is how to connect with the people and build the trust factor. And when there's vulnerability and there's a story, they connect to you because they need to trust you first. So and then the posts are quick and short. It's nothing too long. And then you build the connection, start building the connection and people interacting with you and engaging with your posts.
Perfect. Good stuff, Lily. Love that. Ja, go for it, brother. I think you tried to unmute yourself.
Are you asking the question about the overall process of this or for the specifics of my
From these
story?
last 3 questions, overall process, all of the above. Yep.
I don't have anything to input it for the overall process because I'm now in the what I'm unpacking inside myself, so I can speak to
Good.
that.
So what are you learning about that?
Yep. So the transition point for me was pretty specific, going from a win-lose paradigm where when I was coaching before, sort of coaching consulting, I started making like pretty good money doing stuff that I technically could do, like I had the experience to do and do it well, but I hated the work and it was soul sucking. So once I got back into that grind set again, I realized that because I left corporate world a long time ago, and I had to go in another direction. And once I got a taste of that again, it was so poisonous that I realized I had to do a complete paradigm shift. And that's when I realized that I have to let my inner wizard out, and I have to use all my spiritual capacity and then pour that into my coaching and pour that into my work, because we're spiritual multidimensional beings, and just kind of funneling yourself into just having a certain skill set is just, it's not human. So that was my flip.
I love that. And for you later, what I'd love to hear is like that specific moment where you were like, fuck it, I'm a wizard, I'm doing this shit. And like that was the turning point moment. If you can
Yeah.
tune into that,
Yeah.
I feel like that's gold right there.
It was the moment was pretty specific, because or the feeling was pretty specific, because it was like I almost wanted to be like, I almost felt like sick, like nauseous, puking, kind of that feeling. That when I was doing this work, on the one hand, I'm like, okay, here's a bunch of money, and on the other hand, like it's just so vile, and it's like it's such a like a hard grind between the two, because yeah. And I was like, oh,
That
that's
moment where you're like puking and throwing up,
yeah,
like fuck this
horrible.
corporate shit. I'm a wizard. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and it just like it shot me in the other direction. Like I was like, I got such a clear picture of exactly what is the wrong path, and I could not do it, and I immediately quit that job, that work, and I sheared that off, and I went in this other direction.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Call to action. And now I help people just like me get to XYZ. Drop a fire below and we can jump on a call. Right there.
Yeah.
Anyone feel like when he said that when he got really specific, and I would even get more specific about the moment and the experience, I was
Yeah.
like, fuck yeah, I felt that too.
Yeah.
I was a debt collector, bro. Can you imagine me over here? I'm over here like, hey, sorry, you're not getting your taxes back and you can't feed your 2 children. Sorry. But you can make a $5 deposit today. Can you imagine me? I was doing that for 10 hours a day in a fucking cubicle in a fucking matrix of people. And I literally remember I had a great coaching call that morning. Amazing. I was like, felt on top of the world. I was learning hypnosis. And I got in my car. I started driving. And then slowly but surely, I started feeling off and then anxious and then sick. And the closer I got to work, I was like, oh, I'm not feeling too hot. Right? And then I pull into a Taco Bell drive-through because I'm late. Right? I haven't eaten, I'm late. And there's a 12-car line in the Taco Bell friggin' line. And I just start bawling my eyes out. And I was like, oh, I don't want to go to work because I hate this shit. I don't want to be a debt collector. And that was my turning point. Boom, crying in the Taco Bell line. You see, it's like I'm relatable now. You went through the same thing. You created it. You created the vague, artfully vague concept. And then I filled it in with my experience. I put my water in there. And I said, yeah, me too. Does that make sense to you guys? Oh, this is so fun. Specificity, my biggest takeaway. Love it. Beautiful. Okay. So who wants to get really, really clear and specific on action steps to take so it works? Anybody? Yeah, Jamie, I feel like we're the same person. This makes me so happy. Okay. You feeling it too? I'm feeling it too. We got tattoos and stuff. This is good. Okay. All right, you guys, let's rock. I might skip a couple steps because I'm feeling the flow. Advil, crisis point. Okay. So the reason why I did all this was I was starting to uncover each step on your rock bottom story. This comes from StoryBrand. It's not my framework, but you know what? It's free on the internet. You can Google it for free if you want. You're not paying me anything for this class. So you can get their book. It's a great book. And the basic concept is there's a person who has a problem. And then that person, rock bottom, meets a guide. Who's the guide? Might be Ja, might be Lily. Maybe it's a wizard named James. Who knows? But they meet a mentor and a guide who gives them a plan, who says, hey, if you do this, you're going to end in success and avoid this pitfall that I just experienced. Right? So what's the plan? The plan could be a PDF. The plan could be a guided meditation. The plan could be a coaching call. The plan could be a training. I don't care what you give them, but hey, I have a problem and I saw this guy on the internet. I kind of resonate with him, and his story sounds like he gets it. So what's he got? All right, so I get the plan. Now what? Book a call. So I consumed the poem framework, process it, own it, empathize, make it work, make it right, and it actually helped me in my relationship. I'll never forget this. It's so cool. I had a call with a client. This is literally last week. I kid you not. Framework up last week. Poem framework. I made it up, put it on the story, started using it, started helping. I gave it to one of my clients. He was having a meltdown. And then later that day, someone I know that knows him, who was having the meltdown with, she messaged me and she said, James, I have just an endless amount of gratitude for you. Now, I forgot I had the call earlier that day with the guy, right? So he was talking to her, had a big blow up meltdown. And so I helped him. And then she messaged me and said, wow, I'm so grateful for you. I said, what did I do? It's like, you helped him. With what? He said he had a framework thing. I was like, oh shit, it works. That's awesome. That's cool, man. I think I should probably teach this more often, right? So when you have a framework, now you have something to offer. It's a thing. I'm not healing your trauma, which is like this weird amorphous thing. It's not breath work, because what the fuck is that? Let's do a breath work session. Why? I can breathe. What's it going to do for me? It'll help you connect with your inner child. I don't want that. Fuck that. I want to make sure my wife doesn't leave me. They don't even know that they have a problem you can solve. Why? Specific. Story. And this is one last thing I want you guys to know. If you tell a story, people don't get defensive. If I were to say, hey, you need this, you'd be like, what? Who are you? Back up. But if I just present this thing over here and tell why it's important to me, all of a sudden you're like, oh, tell me more. Right? It's hypnosis. If you tell a story, you will erase defensiveness. You erase resistance. I'll be having a conversation. I've been doing it all night with you guys. You have a problem? I'll tell a story. While I'm telling the story, I'm giving you the answer. But I'm not telling you to do it. I'm saying I did this. This is a possibility. Then you can choose all the possibilities on the shelf that you have. Mine's the best and the most recent. Does that make sense to you guys? Tell the story, give it a little moral, and then have something that they need that you have in the middle that you can offer as a thing. Okay? And don't worry, you can watch this replay too. So now we have a rock bottom story. Beautiful. You get the concept. I'll give it to you in a PDF. Don't need to worry about it too much. Now let's talk about the strategy, and this is what you guys are going to be doing. The two-step post. It takes 30 seconds to create. 30 seconds to create. You follow the flow. Don't worry. I will give it to you. Okay? And at the end, it results in a heart-centered sales call. If you guys don't know heart-centered sales, don't worry. Do what you do best, what you know best right now. Next week, I'm going to specifically train you in skill and drill heart-centered sales. It's not hard. Okay? So if you have a couple calls this week, awesome. You might get a sale. If not, next week you'll have more calls. Is that cool with everybody? Yeah? Okay.